With your forecast first, with meteorologist Dan Tomaso.
And good evening. Awfully pleasant outside with temperatures in the low to mid 60s. Dry for now, too, but we continue to watch to the north as more showers and thunderstorms to begin to develop not only now, but through the night over parts of New York and northern Pennsylvania. We'll continue to watch that. In the meantime, by tomorrow, we continue to watch warming conditions, more humidity, and more storms. More details on this coming up.
A packed city square. Did the demonstrations in York tonight stay peaceful? That's ahead.
These are unprecedented times, and we are constantly reminded why our democracy has never been so important.
Elections officials say it was smooth sailing statewide on this primary Tuesday, but there were some minor issues here in the mid-state.
We're live in Lancaster for another night of protests.
Now, live from your local news source. This is ABC27 News at 11.
Good evening, I'm Alicia Richards.
And I'm Dennis Owens. Thanks so much for joining us. It is election night in Pennsylvania. We will have more on results and what the state is saying about tonight's primaries.
But first tonight, we begin with protests in the mid-state. Demonstrators are calling for change on this election day. Our Sarah Gisriel's in Lancaster right now, where demonstrators had their demands heard. Sarah.
Yeah, that's right. Another night of protests here in Lancaster. Last night I told you it feels more like a block party. Same thing tonight. Now we're joined by one of the protesters, Justin, here. Okay, this is live TV. Sometimes that happens. You guys you had your demands. You asked some demands from city leaders. What were they? What did you guys talk about today?
Most importantly, we demanded a change in the police force. We demanded that not only do these police go through intense training, but they go through psychological tests. We demanded a change in our education system. We demanded a change in our work systems. We demanded a change overall that will help our community, that will help black folks in our community, and help us thrive well.
Absolutely. I know the police chief was also here. What did you guys discuss when he was out here?
Police chief came out twice. We've been out here for 4 days. He came out on the second day. It wasn't very sincere. Today, when the police chief came out, it was sincere. You can hear it in his voice. You can see it in his face. He took off his shades. He got on the truck with us. He didn't stand on the truck. He got on the truck with us, and he talked and he told us how, it's gonna take time. That he sees what we're doing, and he told us that it's okay. It's okay to party. It's okay to be outside of the police station. So that's what we did. Instead of bringing our community down, instead of burning it to the ground, no. We were given another ultimatum, and we decided that instead of that, we're going to party, because that's how my people are. We party and we have fun, and we're going to do it through love, and that's how we're going to find a change in our community.
And I've been seeing that out here. You guys, it is like a party. And you and I talked earlier. You said you guys aren't going to stop coming out here. Tell me a little bit about that.
Oh, yeah, we're not stopping. Every day at 11 a.m., Lancaster Police Department. Whether you're outside of Lancaster, come through. Make a point, make a statement. We got the news attention. We got everyone's attention. This is where you should be. Come celebrate with us. We're not celebrating the death of George Floyd.
Thank you, Justin, so much for being here with us. And I do want to note also that Lancaster police said earlier that they had found 2 low-level explosives. Not sure what we saw there earlier, but could be some of the same thing. We're not sure. We'll get back to you after we confirm that. But for now, live in Lancaster City, Sarah Gisriel, ABC27 News.
Okay, Sarah, thanks for that report. Protests also erupted in York today. Hundreds packed the city. Amy Lewis joins us live with more on this hours-long march. Amy.
Well, Dennis, there was a lot of unknown surrounding today. Nobody was certain if whether or not these planned peaceful protests would in fact stay peaceful, or if they would turn into what we saw last night and turn a bit violent, but that was not the case. Everybody was on the same page, sharing the same message. It started in the heart of York City, a peaceful demonstration that grew by the minute. Holding signs, chanting names, listening closely to those that took the stage.
Choose your outlet, whether it be poetry or dance, and pursue this topic from various means of expression. Don't tell me you can't do anything.
All giving a similar message to the hundreds of people, black, white, young, old, all there to show support, solidarity, a showing that black lives do matter. And then it moved to the streets, a parade through downtown, stopping traffic, the mayor trying to keep people safe.
I can't breathe.
And it ended here at the police station, with personal testimonies being shared. Through the tears and cries for honest equality, no one was hurt, but the message undoubtedly heard. And right now we are looking at a very quiet Central Square. The protest wrapped up about an hour ago, and as to whether or not there will be more protests in York City this week, the mayor's office says they're not ruling it out. Live in York City, Amy Lewis, ABC27 News.
Good job, Amy. Thank you. And it is an election night for the history books, but not because of any major issues, says the Department of State. It is the first time Pennsylvania has allowed mail-in ballots. Polls closed 3 hours ago in Pennsylvania, and officials held a news conference shortly after that. Our Alex Peterson joins us live at the state capitol right now. Alex.
Alicia, good evening. Well, it was anything but nail-biting, but it was certainly a day to remember, with new ways to vote, a pandemic to deal with, and that civil unrest we just saw statewide. Now, those protests did lead to at least one county courthouse closure, not in our area, though. In our region, the biggest issue seemed to be in Lancaster County, where some of the ballots did have barcodes that didn't scan correctly. So those were put into a secure ballot box and will be counted centrally. About 1.8 million Pennsylvanians applied for and were approved for mail-in or absentee ballots. To put that into perspective, that's 17 times greater than the last presidential primary in 2016. Now, counting all of those ballots will take time, which means final results are not expected tonight. The Secretary of State applauding elections officials statewide for dealing with everything they've had to deal with. She says they'll now work with counties to streamline mail-in ballot procedures and push for more time to allow counting.
What we very much hope is to work with the legislature between now and November to allow the counties to start canvassing those mail-in and absentee ballots earlier. As I said, Act 12 of 2020 helped a lot. It gave the counties 13 hours more to canvass, but it's not enough.
Now, the statewide voter hotline received more than 3,600 calls for mainly routine things, according to the Secretary of State, things like ballot questions and polling location sites. Now, speaking of those polling location sites, all the ones that were consolidated today due to COVID-19 will not be the case come November. So keep in mind, over the next 5 months, things will change back to the way they were before. There could be other things that introduce themselves as that pandemic continues to grow. We'll let you know as it all unfolds. Live tonight in Harrisburg, Alex Peterson, ABC27 News.
Alex, thank you. It's worth reiterating because we're about to give you some numbers, or try to anyway, but because of so many mail-in ballots, we won't have final numbers in many of the races. A big one, though, to watch this evening, 10th Congressional. Democrats Auditor General Eugene DePasquale and Hershey Attorney Tom Breyer both fighting to take on Republican incumbent Scott Perry in the fall. The seat covers Dauphin, Cumberland, and York counties. DePasquale made a name for himself as former state representative and auditor general, taking on issues like untested rape kits and exposing abuse in nursing homes. His opponent, there he is, Tom Breyer, is an author and attorney and proudly progressive on issues like the opioid epidemic, ending gun violence, and climate change.
Washington, D.C. is broken, and I have a record of fixing things. And that's what I think the voters in our area and the people of this country need.
It's not about me, it's not about one person, it's about, can we fix this deep turmoil in our country? And it can't end on election day. It has to be really as consistent as we need it to be.
And Democrats do believe that come November, they have a shot to steal this seat, which was once considered foolproof for Republicans.
We'll see what happens there in November, but for now, let's see who wins this primary. Let's take a look at these incoming results. I am curious to see what percentage of the precincts are reporting. Let's throw that graphic up there and see who's ahead. Okay, see, it looks like we have just 30% of the precincts reporting, 36% in. So it's early. I mean, as Dennis said, a lot of times most of the votes, or many of the votes, would be in right now. Just keep in mind, at least in this race, only 36% are in. But you can see DePasquale, at least at this point, has a very healthy lead.
And because DePasquale is running for Congress, there are 6 Democrats running for Auditor General. 2 of them are local. Here's what we've got so far. Scott Conklin, again, this is statewide, and 53% are in. As you can see, Michael Lamb is leading the area. He's Pittsburgh City Controller. You've got Nina Ahmad. She's a former deputy mayor in Philadelphia. Other candidates, we have Christina Hartman. She's from Lancaster. She is a former congressional candidate. Scott Conklin is a state representative from State College. And moving along in the numbers, Tracy Fountain is local. She's from Harrisburg. And Rose Marie Davis, you see there with 7%. But again, Philadelphia was given an extra week to accept ballots. It's a lot of people did their mail-in ballots. So those numbers, as you see, just 53% in. We still got a long way to go on that.
Well, here are the Democrats vying to run against Republican State Senator John DeSanto. Both Alvin Taylor Sr. and George Scott are ministers. Scott's a military veteran as well, and he almost beat Congressman Scott Perry in 2018. Just a footnote there. This is the 15th district, which includes Perry County and part of Dauphin County. Have the votes in. George Scott with a good lead.
Now, Republicans running for state rep in this 106th district. You can see those numbers really low. That's mostly Dauphin County. It was, however, a feisty race. Tom Mahaffey is the incumbent. Chris Lupp, small businessman. Mimi LeGros, as you see there, she's former Patriot News columnist. Mimi Brodeur. Lindsey Drew is the unopposed Democratic candidate, but those numbers are still very early.
Well, at least the presidential race is decided. Joe Biden, I don't want to shock you, has won the Democratic nomination in Pennsylvania. Bernie Sanders, Tulsi Gabbard, still on the ballot there.
You did not surprise me or shock me. President Trump won on the Republican side. He was up against William Weld and Rocky de la Fuente. As you can see, Donald Trump, big. And new tonight, President Trump is insisting that the Republican National Convention be moved out of Charlotte, North Carolina. This is the state's governor said a crowd that large cannot gather because of the coronavirus pandemic. No word on where the convention, which was slated to happen in August, will now take place.
And coming up tonight, our ABC27 analysts will give us their take on today's primary, and we're going to get a look ahead to November.
And we want to take a moment to honor a local healthcare hero. Joanna Meyer, she's the practice site manager of the Pediatric Specialties Clinic at Penn State Health Children's Hospital. If you have a friend or loved one that you want to honor, go to our website, abc27.com, and look under the Community tab for honoring healthcare heroes.
Healthcare Heroes is partially sponsored by Highmark.
And we are now joined by our analysts, Abe Amoros and Chris Nicholas.
They're here to weigh in on tonight's primary and a look ahead to November.
Okay, let's start with Chris. The state says despite a pandemic and protests and all these mail-in ballots, everything ran smoothly. Are you buying that?
Yes. Kudos to all of our election personnel, county and state, for weathering a very difficult primary season. I say that conditionally because, as you and Alicia have alluded to, so many of our votes have been cast by mail that we won't have full results for a little while. So it's going to take a little while to bake this cake, but so far so good.
Yeah, Chris, taking your point, and Abe, I'll toss this one to you. Look, I mean, it's going to be another week before ballots in 6 states, including Dauphin County, have to be counted. You know, they've done mail-in ballots for some good reasons, but we want to know now. It's kind of frustrating, isn't it?
Yes, it certainly is frustrating, Alicia. No question about it. These are unprecedented times. And again, just to echo what Chris said, I think that the state and the counties have done a tremendous job. I'm hoping that the election results are going to be sooner than later, but let's not hold our breath on a week. It could be a little longer than that. And of course, the dedicated poll workers or the county election officials, they're going to put in extra time to make sure they get it right.
Chris, the president has said he thinks the mail-in ballots, widespread mail-in ballots, lead to a fraudulent result come November. What is his concern, and is it valid?
Well, I'm not sure exactly what his concern is. I'm a bit baffled, like a lot of other Republicans. What I believe it could be is that many Republicans, such as myself too, we are concerned about just giving everyone an absentee ballot. If we're going to be mailing everyone an absentee ballot application, that's fine. But that is a first crucial step because it helps make sure that all the addresses are correct, so the ballots we're getting back are appropriate and have been asked for. And the other thing I think is we're getting a little bit over our skis, so to speak. There's no difference between voting in person and voting by mail as long as you vote. That's the key thing.
Abe, this election did seem to go well. We talked about it's not quite over yet. A lot of ballots yet to be counted. But we've had some rough elections. Is today a sign of things to come in November? You think things will go smoothly in Pennsylvania?
I do believe that that's going to be the case, Alicia, for several reasons. First of all, everyone is excited about the new voting machines that are in place. And some of the glitches that we saw at the top of the hour, we were talking about Lancaster. Those are easy fixes, and I think that everyone should have enough confidence in our ability to count the votes in a timely fashion and have really good results on Election Day.
Abe, Chris, thanks a million.
Thanks, guys.
And still ahead for you tonight, we're going to hear from the State Attorney General about the George Floyd protests in Pennsylvania.
You're watching ABC 27 News, your local news source.
Glad it didn't happen today. We may get some storms tomorrow.
I was going to say, I'm going to accentuate the positive and talk about how beautiful today was, Dan Tomaso.
Today was gorgeous. We kept away the storms and we really benefited. So overall today, a win, but come tomorrow, a little more heat and humidity and showers and storms. Just not quite yet. So Carlisle is quiet for now, and I think for the most part, we'll escape rain-free across much of the region, but parts of northern Dauphin, northern Lebanon counties, even the ridges and valleys, you may see a storm or shower overnight. I'll get into the reason why in just a second, but radar is quiet now and the clouds have mainly cleared. You can see the stars outside. Again, it's a nice mild evening, but notice what's happening here to the north of us. All these little bolts, they are lightning strikes coming from different rounds of thunderstorms over New York State, and they're heading south and southeast, already clipping parts of northeastern Pennsylvania. So we could get brushed by a little bit of activity overnight. So temperatures in the mid 60s to upper 60s. There's a little bit of fuel in the atmosphere for a shower or storm overnight, but tomorrow there will be even more. Look at tomorrow morning's temperatures, low to mid 70s and then low 80s by the afternoon. Winds beginning to pick up as this front gets closer. What's happening is we're pumping in more heat and humidity. At the same time, on the northern edge of this high, we see the storms gathering along this front and more to the west towards Chicago and Lake Michigan. It's really this round that arrives by later tomorrow morning and then drops south and east, and it could form into a gusty line of showers and storms by tomorrow afternoon. So when we show you precision casts, again, there may be a few areas, northern Dauphin, northern Lebanon counties, perhaps the ridges and valleys that get a shower or storm overnight. But this is the main activity starting after 2 o'clock in the afternoon. A line of showers and storms, some that could be very gusty, and we'll be watching that. Severe thunderstorm watches, warnings, they are possible as this front comes by. So once that happens, you would think there's a big cool down in store. Well, it'll cool down a little bit for Thursday, but highs tomorrow near 88, 85 for Thursday. Look ahead to the weekend, Friday, 88 again, but more showers and thunderstorms dropping a little bit more by Saturday and Sunday, but cooler and less humid. Let's send it back to you.
All right, Dan, thank you so much. And still ahead on ABC 27 News at 11, more local election results for you, plus a look at Dauphin and Cumberland counties' new voting machines.
But first, tonight's military hero, Chief Petty Officer James Rhodes III of Chambersburg. He was an aviation machinist in the Navy from 1964 to 1967 on board aircraft carriers USS Midway and Coral Sea. We salute you and we thank you for your service. And taking a look at more election results as they continue to trickle in. Here's the latest in the 9th Congressional District, currently held by Republican Dan Muser. This is on the Democratic side. This is Lebanon and Schuylkill counties. 2 Democrats, Gary Wegman, Laura Quick. Wegman's a dentist. Quick is a UPS driver. 85% in, you see Quick has the lead. The winner will take on Muser in November.
All right, let's turn to the 11th Congressional District that covers York and Lancaster counties. The Democrat that wins this one faces Republican incumbent Lloyd Smucker in the fall. Paul Daigle works at F&M College. Sarah Hammond is a high school field hockey and track coach, 45% in. You saw the result there.
Running for state senate in the 13th district, which is Lancaster County, Democrats Craig Lehman and Janet Diaz. Lehman is a county commissioner. Diaz works at Lancaster General Hospital. The winner will take on will face Republican incumbent Scott Martin. As you can see, Diaz has the lead.
To a state senate seat representing parts of Cumberland and York counties. This is the 31st district. The winner will try to unseat Republican Mike Regan, Richard Copeland, Shanna Danielson, and John Boscia with 60% in.
New at 11, the state attorney general says it's important for all elected officials to listen to the pleas of protesters angry at the death of George Floyd. Josh Shapiro has seen the looting and the burning and the destruction. He certainly condemns that, but says the peaceful protesters have valid criticism and policymakers need to make the changes they're seeking.
I think it's really important that we listen to them and that elected leaders from all stripes, local, state, and federal, listen and recognize that there are big segments of our society who feel like they are not being heard, who see part of Mr. Floyd in them.
Shapiro also announced today he helped to negotiate sick pay and paid telemedicine for Instacart workers who shop for and deliver groceries. So ahead for you on ABC27 News at 11. Cumberland and Dauphin counties put new voting machines to the test today. How'd they work out?
All right, welcome back. Let's get you some more numbers. 2 Lancaster County residents are running to represent the 41st District in the State House. Either Brett Miller or Bradford Whitmer will face Michelle Worley in November. 80% of the precincts reporting here it's a blowout for Miller.
Taking a look at the State House race in the 86th District, that covers Perry County, parts of Cumberland. The race is between Perry Stambaugh, Jedediah Nessinger, and William Benner. As you can see, Stambaugh with the lead, 100% in, so it looks like Stambaugh is your winner. Mark Keller is not seeking re-election there. No Democrats are running.
State House 87th District, 3 Cumberland County Democrats running to face off against Greg Rothman in November. Nicole Miller, Heather McDonald, or Sean Quinlan. 72% there, and Miller with a strong lead.
Running for state representative in the Harrisburg District is Patty Kim. She is going for her 5th term, as she's the incumbent against Kelvin Maxon. As you can see, Patty Kim with a comfortable lead. No Republicans are running, so the winner tonight will be your state representative. It looks like that's Patty Kim.
Another state house seat, the 104th District, Dauphin County. Incumbent Republican Sue Helm has a primary challenger, Travis Stauffer. Sue Helm in a blowout. Well, it's only 30% of the precincts reporting, I should say.
For the first time today, Cumberland and Dauphin counties used brand new voting machines mandated by the state. Governor Wolf ordered that to prevent fraud. The new machines are required to have voter verifiable paper trails, and county officials tell us they worked well. Coming up in sports, Penn State football players make their voices heard during a week of social unrest. Ali Barubi has that next.